Welcome, podcast listeners and followers. Have you ever wanted to be able to share the best version of yourself, but you were not sure where to begin? Were you ever lost in a maze of endless possibilities as to how life could go, and seemingly unable to find where the end of the tunnel you've been walking through ended to make such a choice? Can you see yourself asking others to speak from their hearts and help you in creating that tapestry that is yet to be woven into a beautiful piece of work? These questions and others we'll explore on the inaugural episode of Speaking from the Heart. This is your podcast host, Joshua D. Smith, founder and owner of Your Speaking Voice, LLC, based in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And we're going to tackle not only these questions in today's episode, but we'll take it beyond. This podcast is for all those aficionados out there that are thinking about how can I make such an impactful difference in the world that we live in. It's not easy in life to overcome a wide range of difficulties that we might have that might set us back. It might actually have some circumstances in which we might have a lot of issues. I'm not just talking about the things that we have personally in our lives, but I'm talking about the things that are political, the social, the economical, the definition of who we are, what makes up our life experiences, what creates our identity, and what are the things that we want to portray to others. These elements, and many more, whether they're basic or complex, really create the tapestry of what we are all about and what we really want to become. No other than myself, I know that I've been through many of those situations in my own personal life. Growing up in a household in which there were a lot of responsibilities, living on a farm for over 20 years of my life, I learned the value of those sort of things, not only in the work that I was tasked to do on a daily basis, but also in the interactions that I had as a kid growing up too. And it's not easy to be able to put that through into a lens in which all of us can look at and be able to focus on day in and day out on ways in which we can improve ourselves and each other. I'm sure that all of us can think of all the accomplishments that we've had, all the potential roadblocks that we have faced, whether we're moving from the physical or the mental, or maybe just trying to figure out where we're supposed to be, where we're supposed to actually reside in society. And I know that for many of us in today's world, it can be very challenging. For the longest time in my life, I've always wondered what was holding me back. The things that often hold us back are the societal differences that we have. Those are the things that we deal with as a kid growing up. Whether you're homeschooled or whether you went to a public school back in the day, or even where you're at right now. I know each of us can think of situations that are challenging and difficult that might put us in the lens of thinking about why these sort of things happen to us. But did you ever stop and consider that maybe those things are supposed to happen for a reason? Maybe those are the things that maybe hold us back at one point or another, make us get into such a deep thought of consideration that we're not quite sure what to do and maybe not know what to say to somebody that is going through such difficult times. I know that for many of us, we can also speculate that those sort of things that make up us can create some of those very barriers that we often face. I want you to consider the fact that as we go through this process of trying to think about what our voice is, what is really on our hearts, we really need to ask ourselves what we can do to really speak out. And that's the reason for starting this podcast. It wasn't until just about 8 weeks ago where I was diagnosed for the first time in my life with the word that forever has changed my life: autism. Now, in adults, there isn't much of body of evidence as of today in terms of how you go about and navigate those sort of challenges that are related with that word. And I've seen many people, my friends especially, trying to get as much help as they possibly can, especially with their own children, now that there's a widely accepted body of evidence when it comes to that. But even with all those things that hold us back from what can be the best version of ourselves. I think that we have to realize that we always have two choices in life. We can let those things that are holding us back, the physical or the mental, the experiences as a kid, whatever the case might be, define who we will always be no matter what. And we can live and submit to that as much as we possibly want. Or we have the other choice of saying that we are not going to accept that solution and that we're going to become something that we always dreamed about, something that we're possibly always going to be able to do as a result of working so hard on not only the things that are holding us back, but making us feel that we are capable of taking on the world. I decided not that long ago that I would be the latter. I want to be the force that is willing to help others understand what might be holding them back. And that's the reason why this podcast now exists. If you ever thought in a million years that you are sitting here thinking to yourself, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I have the ability to really make a profound impact on others. I don't know if I really have what it takes. I want you to know that you do. I want you to know that you have all the tools at your disposal, and it's all about seeking out what is best in what your life is meant to be. And if you're not sure what that is, that's what we're going to explore on this podcast. I want to be able to share with you a wide variety of topics that not only influence you as to what you can do, not only in the physical, mental, or even the professional sense of what it means to think about those sort of concepts outside of the box, but through the variety of guests that I'll bring on the show too. I want you to be able to explore what your inner calling is, to really set forth the tone of your next adventure that you have, no matter what it is that you're trying to do. But you know what's so beautiful about all of this? As we even talk about this sort of concept, the beautiful part about it all is that we are all human. We're given the freedom to choose the path that we want to set forth on. There's no mathematical formula. There's no combination of unique tasks or backgrounds that you need to have to achieve those. It's about the magic, and I use that in the literal sense, the magic that we have to instantly transform you into something that you never thought you could possibly be. It will take hard work. It'll take determination and the willingness to always get up and say that you can overcome whatever imposter syndrome that you have and say that you want to be the best version of yourself in this ever-changing world. 30 years ago, I was given that opportunity to start thinking about that very question when I was a kid, working through a school system that really challenged me to start thinking about having my own voice. But I never thought of it that way. I was too naive. I wasn't given the right tools to be able to survive and be able to be accepted for what those things can truly be in my life. Whether that was something that I needed to work on, whether that's something that I needed to focus and create the value for which I could be able to answer all these sort of things that are in my mind and in my heart. It's about what I've been able to do with the information that I've been given and move it to the next level. For many people, I know that it can be very tough. That means challenging the status quo. It means challenging the things that you have always thought would be the toughest and the most ridiculed and the most devalued things in your life that you are just so afraid of doing. I know that it can be tough. As someone that has been through mental health crises in my life, one after another, I know that that can be extremely tough to be able to find the focus, to find that inner strength in yourself and to be able to say, I can do it. I am worthy. No matter what your background is, no matter what the societal aspects are that create that version of yourself, this is something that you don't have to live in for the rest of your life. It's all about making a choice. It's about making the things that are really necessary come true. And that means being able to look deep inside yourself and ask yourself the opportunity question of a lifetime. And that is, what is in your heart? That's it. What is in your heart? Throughout the next several episodes, we'll start exploring some of these concepts at a high level. But at the same time, you're going to hear from many guests that are going to be sharing what is on their heart so that they are creating some of the value that you can strive for. And we'll get into the weeds of what are they actually thinking about? What is it that actually drives them to create some of that value within their own lives? Because I know that for many of us, just being able to start from ourselves from a certain standpoint means just taking a look at what we are right now. This podcast is going to be about the 3 principles that I started my business on. Number 1, relationships. These are the things that create the personal connections. They're the underpinnings of creating many of the values in our lives. And without them, we're unable to provide those opportunities for ourselves and potentially others. That's why relationships are so important. The second thing is confidence. It's not only just about overcoming the challenges with adding knowledge and skill sets that we have, but it's being able to showcase the best version of ourselves, the mission of the business. We're willing to pursue those aspirations and those passions by being able to see through some of those challenges that are before us, whether they're in the physical sense or the mental sense. Finally, tying it all together is the last value, determination. When we combine all these things that we've been saying throughout this episode into this one word, we're able to create a new world vastly enriched with opportunities that we will be able to add throughout time. We'll be able to create the passion for goals that we can achieve by overcoming events that have held us back. That's why we're going to work on each of these values with the mission to transform our voice. Our voice is not just about the spoken word. It is about the things that we say and act on, the nonverbal. Those are the things that tell the picture of 1,000 words, 10,000 words, 100,000 words, whatever you want to have. You can have as much as you want, as long as you, within your heart, are willing to speak from it. We're going to reach into those wide, vast concepts that we're conjuring up for ourselves, because nothing is impossible. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to believe that there's a world out there for you and so many others that will listen to this and feel empowered to make a change in their lives more than they ever thought they could ever make. And it all starts with making one concept come to reality. You. You are the one that's important. I know that this will be a journey that will enrich all of you. And all it's about is taking from what's inside you today and being willing to look at the opportunities that exist. Whether it's from a life perspective, from a business perspective, or from some vast, wide-reaching concept that we're trying to conjure up for ourselves. Nothing is impossible. Thanks for listening to the inaugural episode of Speaking from the Heart, and I look forward to hearing from your heart very soon.